this week's Songs of Praise, we're in London for the culmination of a festival celebrated by a fifth of the world's population. It's Chinese New Year, and here in the grounds of Chiswick House, the lights from over 50 huge lantern displays are drawing in the crowds. Later, I'll be exploring more of these luminous works of art and finding out what the festival means for the many Chinese Christians here in the UK.
I'll be meeting a remarkable man who's using fitness and faith to fight his battle with cancer.
I guess you could describe me as a fitness evangelist.
More power to ya, speak out and find your voice.
And I'm going to be meeting Stella Parton, sister of the world-renowned country singer Dolly. We're going to be talking about faith, family and music.
We've uplifting hymns and a performance from Alexander Armstrong in a magnificent setting. The British Chinese community is the oldest of its kind in Western Europe. The first record of a Chinese person in Britain was Shen Fu Song, a Jesuit scholar who came to the court of King James II in the 17th century. Many of those that followed were sailors who came here to trade in tea, ceramics and silk. And in an area of London called Limehouse, they established the very first European Chinatown. And it's in London we begin our Songs of Praise with our first hymn from the Church of St Martin in the Fields on Trafalgar Square. Chinese New Year is also known as the Spring Festival, and its date is determined by the lunar calendar. So yesterday marked the beginning of the Year of the Rooster and 15 days of festivities. The celebrations traditionally end with a beautiful display of lanterns, and here in the grounds of Chiswick House, that's being done on a grand scale. The festival's theme is the Silk Road, an ancient route which connected east and west through an exchange of not just goods but also architecture, science, art and religion. Earlier in the day I caught up with Ian Siang. He's the brains behind the lantern displays, all pre-made in China and shipped to the UK in 46 giant containers.
We have over 60,000 light bulbs to light up the whole festival. As you can see, the feature behind me is 30 meters long, 15 meters tall, so it's literally as high as a house.
So what was it like for you the first time you saw them all lit up?
Well, it was because it took me a very long time, 4 years, to plan this, make it happen. When I saw all the lanterns, the reflections of the lights on the water, really made me very emotional. I really cried. I said, okay, that's good enough.
Ian's lantern designs are an expression of his cultural roots. But since coming to the UK, he has begun another journey.
I came here about nearly 20 years now as a student. One day, my friends took me to church, and I got very emotional. So at the end of the sermon, the pastor said, anybody want to pray, come forward. So I just went forward and did a prayer, and that changed my everything. Chinese New Year is still very important to me because that's where I grew up. It's in my blood. But that morning, that prayer really changed my life.
The Houses of Parliament there in all their Chinese lantern glory. But of course London is also famous for its marathon, which for many people is the achievement of a huge personal milestone. Well, how do you fancy running one a month? That's what one remarkable man has been doing whilst battling a life-threatening illness. Connie caught up with him.
Ben Ashworth likes to run. And run. And run. Ben has totted up 24 marathons in 24 months. That's an amazing achievement in itself, but astounding when you discover that Ben is battling bowel cancer.
I'm here almost 5 years after my diagnosis, so I really can't complain. I think God's responsible for that.
Ben was told he had 6 months to live. Since then, in between debilitating chemo treatments and operations, Ben has been running to raise money for cancer charities. I went to meet Ben in his local park in Preston in Lancashire to find out more about his incredible achievements. You've inspired so many people, but how would you describe yourself?
I would always say I'm just a bloke with cancer who runs a bit and not even very well. I'm not a very fast runner, but I just feel like I've got the determination and grit, I think, to sort of smash out these marathons, and there's lots of other people that aren't able, so I just feel like I ought to do my best to make the use of God's gifts.
Knowing that you're on limited time, how has that affected your faith? Has it strengthened? I mean, looking to the future as such, how do you feel about all of that now?
Nobody's got a cancer-free pass. Nobody can say that, you know, I shouldn't have cancer because I'm young, or I have this or that. You know, cancer touches everyone, sadly. But I think, you know, I know that God has given me the tools to cope with my disease. It sounds really silly, but I think in some ways I was built for cancer. You know, I've got a really positive attitude towards life. I'm always able to see, you know, a good thing in a bad situation.
Ben's courage has been an inspiration to his friends and others he's encountered.
My daughter spent some time in a wheelchair, and Ben was really inspirational and motivational in telling her that she could get back running again.
Through his condition and how ill he was still there for me in some really dark places.
That's encouraged me to think about my life and about doing something myself to increase my fitness.
He's just awesome and just inspires so many people around him.
Ben's wife Louise and his 3 daughters, one of whom is from a previous marriage, have helped him cope with the devastating news and have always been Ben's biggest supporters.
I was 3 months pregnant when he was first diagnosed, and then by the time they'd said, look, this is terminal, our baby was 6 months old.
How has your family coped?
You ride the waves with it. There are times when it's been difficult, and then there are times when we've just loved life. There are times that you can feel like God is really far away and feel quite alone, but I know that the times when I've lent on him and I've gone to him and spoken in prayer, that they're the times that I've felt strongest.
I feel like a broken record. I do feel truly blessed to have had them and to have the strength that they've given me, and that's all been possible through God.
And what message do you want them to take from all of your efforts?
That my spirit wasn't dulled, that despite an aggressive disease, despite, you know, a lot of difficulties, that my spirit endured, and, you know, I carried on and didn't give up, and I did my very, very best